Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martin Warwick. We're here at Broadband World Forum 2016 in Excel in London Docklands, and I'm talking with Richard Porter, who is Head of Product at O2 Home, which is of course part of Telefonica these days. Richard, we were just discussing off shot that it's about a decade since we last met. In that time my hair's disappeared and you've got more. I don't know, you must be doing something right.
It's all about the product.
Right, O2 Home, smart homes, intelligent homes, connected homes, whatever you want to call it. Of course, given our industry, there's always a lot of hype around, and the hype machine's cranked up a bit high as far as a connected home, smart home is concerned. What's the difference between what's being said at large and the reality of what's available now?
What's being said at large, a lot of the conversation is around product and technology, and what we're trying to do is remove that language and expose much more of a consumer benefit-led story, where we can bring the benefits of connected smart home, whatever you want to call it, to real consumers in their homes and make a difference to their lives, whether that's in terms of helping them to save money or helping them to have more peace of mind with things like cameras in the home.
Okay, now tell us about O2 Home. I know from what we've been saying, this is, in the initial period anyway, a sort of retail experience. You go and see these things in a sort of showroom environment, say, oh, I like the way that works, tell me how it works. How does it go on from there?
So that initial conversation, you're right, is mostly in retail because it's fairly new stuff. People want to see it and touch it and have a look at how it operates, and we set it out in our retail stores in the context of a working smart home. So you can experience that, and then once you've decided what pack you'd like to buy, what base pack, you can choose whether you'd like to add any additional pieces to that pack. So for example, you may want to add a water sensor, a flood detector. You can choose to add that at the time. You'll sign your contract with us, and then you'll leave, and you'll leave the store without anything, because what we'll do as O2 is come and visit your home a few days later and come and install everything that you've chosen into your home at a time that's convenient for you. And during that process, we'll put it in, we'll make sure it's all working, and of course we'll take you through what you've got and how it operates, give you some training on what you've bought. And really there's that core theme of we're here to make it easy in the first place and to help you go on that journey with your O2 Home as you add more to it.
Okay, two immediate points come to my mind, which is, well, three actually. First one is price, of course. Mm-hmm. Second one is the amount of available bandwidth that is necessary to enable this to happen. And the third one is the complexity of use for the consumer when the O2 truck rolls away and you're left on your own with it. So can we tackle those?
Of course. So in no particular order. So in terms of cost, one of the big barriers to entry is the cost, and we are trying to smooth that pain, take away that pain by allowing people to pay for the service over time. So if you take one of our base packs, you'll sign up for a 24-month contract, and you'll be paying between £20 and £30 per month for that. There's no upfront fee. The installation is included in that fee, and really everything that you need to get started on the journey is included. We use the existing broadband that you have supplied to your home. So it's not O2 broadband, it's whatever broadband provider you may have. We piggyback on that and use that for the connectivity to keep you connected to your home. But in the event of that failing, our hardware does have an O2 SIM inside it, so it can still talk to you even if for some reason your broadband isn't there for some reason. In terms of bandwidth, that means really we're using the same broadband that you've got at home. Most of the things the smart thing needs to do don't require a huge amount of bandwidth. In fact, a lot of what the smart home is doing is contained within the house. When my smart home decides to turn on an upstairs light because it's seen somebody coming down the drive, it does that within the home. There's no external connection needed. If I want to do something more bandwidth hungry, like perhaps view a video footage of who it was coming up the drive, then it does require a little bit more bandwidth, but it's not bandwidth hungry, certainly not in the way that streaming an HD movie would be.
It's interesting and evident and obvious, really, that a telco service provider would do something like this. What's the competition like? Because there's lots and lots, as we know, lots and lots of people are snapping away at this because it's potentially a very lucrative market.
It is potentially very lucrative. There's shareholder value to be created, and there are a lot of players, so people will be aware of the energy companies, particularly with the success that Hive is having in the market with their smart thermostat and slightly broader range now. Obviously the internet companies are starting to play. Voice control in the home is going to be a fascinating journey over the next few months as Amazon Echo comes onto the market. Yep. It's a very natural way of interacting with devices in your home. And then some of the more traditional companies, alarm companies, already in the business, white goods manufacturers, everybody's coming at this from a different direction. For us, our DNA, our O2 DNA is customer service. So we're known in the mobile world for delivering the highest customer satisfaction in the UK mobile market, mm-hmm. and our aspiration is to do do the same in the home space. So it's all about helping you as the customer all the way along that journey. And you asked about what happens when the O2 installer leaves your home and you're on your own with this new O2 Home technology. We're there on the telephone, we're there in store, you can come back in and talk to an O2 guru. We're there on forums on the internet, so you can go and exchange some ideas and programs. Really, whatever form of help, ongoing help you need, there are various different touch points where you might otherwise find it slightly harder with some of those other providers. O2 is about service and helping you.
O2 is a different approach in as far as I've spoken to quite a few, not all in Britain or in Europe, but quite a few in the States as well, and where the smart home is picking up in various areas pretty quickly. And what seems to concern, or what the point that's brought out and saying, well, no, service providers aren't necessarily going to be all that good at this, because as we've just said, it's a truck roll for every installation. And they say this is expensive to do this. We can do it without doing truck rolls. We can do it from this. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be self-installed by the customer and all the rest of it. What's your riposte to that argument?
We've tested it extensively. We've been trialing for a while, and what we find is that whilst self-install is fine for the early adopter community, it's much harder to persuade the average family that all this technology is going to work and work first time and be seamless. If you're busy juggling the kids and the family and home pressures of life, you don't want to spend the weekend getting your router to talk to your kettle to talk to your front door. We'll roll in and do it for you, and taking some of that pain away. So our view is that for the mass market part of the smart home world, and that's the market we play in, we need to be helping customers a lot more. Okay,
last question to you. Fascinating stuff. We've got to stop sometime. We're going to talk for an hour on this. But what so far, and I know it's new, what seemed to be the most admired, the most used, the most popular applications and services from O2 Home?
It's a great question. I think there are a combination. I think what many customers are doing is being delighted by what we would see as really the very basic steps. So, for example, one of the most favoured programs at the moment is if you have a contact sensor on your front door, you can ask your O2 Home to send you a text whenever your door opens, and that gives a really nice peace of mind for knowing whether maybe that's the time the kids should be coming home from school, so the door should be opening. Maybe everybody should be out at work and the door shouldn't be opening. It's a lovely, very, very simple scenario. On the other end of the spectrum, the thermostat that we supply, which is a thermostat from a German manufacturer called Tado, is very clever. It looks at where your phone is and says if your phone's in the house, you probably want to be heating, and if your phone's not in the house, then you probably don't want to be wasting money. And by a careful combination of which phones you or your partner or members of the family might have, it determines what the optimum heating for your home is. So that's right on the smart home end of things. It's saving you money and it's keeping you cozy, and then everything else in between.
Fascinating stuff. Richard Porter, great to see you again after a decade, and thanks.
You're welcome.